Cooper Lutkenhaus, welcome to the Call Room Road to Seattle. Final guest, not surprising with how well you're in at Brooks. How you doing this afternoon, man?
Good about yourself.
Doing really good. Excited for our conversation. I feel like this past week, like people knew about you like a few weeks ago, but I feel like you've really come into the spotlight over the past week with your results at Brooks, which is exactly a week ago, and then Nike 3 days later. What's it like? How does it feel?
It's been exciting. I mean, most freshmen don't run 147, 149. So, I mean, getting to do that in front of big crowds and big competition, it's been really fun so far.
Obviously, you've probably known that you're capable of those results of running 147, of winning a national title at a place like Brooks, but the world doesn't, right? Like you're putting in all this work, but very few people see it. Is it nice to finally have some validation and some attention for all the work you've been putting in this spring, this summer?
It is. It's super nice to have the ballot, just everything, honestly. So, I mean, putting in the work behind the scenes, I guess you could say, and then getting to show everybody what I can do. It's been nice.
I heard you referenced as, quote, the freshman many times. Is this the nickname at this point? Do you have different nicknames? And what's it like in the state of Texas, as we'll get into, like how you reference there versus like on the national stage?
I mean, I guess that is the nickname. Whatever they say, I'll just go with. So, I guess the freshman's it. But I mean, just on the national stage, Texas is just crazy for everything, sprints, wise. But going to the national stage, it's even because you have everybody from the United States, so it's definitely a lot bigger.
Let's talk about the Brooks PR race. You run 147.58. Let me ask you this first, because this got brought up by a bunch of kids at Brooks PR. Where do you? You're one of the few kids I've ever seen, other people I've ever seen, that has a kick in the last 100 meters of an 800 race. Normally, most people, they're dying, right? It's like, who can hang on? Who can die the least? No, Cooper's like, I'm going to gun it the last 100. Where does this come from?
The training for sure, and then just I have the confidence. I know I can kick with 200 or 100, whatever I need to. I mean, I believe I can win any race I go into. So just having that confidence, knowing I can finish strong.
147. Were you expecting that result? Did you think you could run 147? Do you think you can run 146? What was the mindset going into Brooks?
Yes and no. I knew I could get to 148 just because I ran 149.12 2 weeks earlier in Alabama. But I mean, going into the race, you have 148, 149 guys all in there. So I knew it was going to be fast. So, I mean, I knew 147 was definitely there. It was just being able to go and actually do it.
The guy headlining the race, he's been on the podcast before, awesome kid, Patrick Hilby. Was it nice to not have much pressure going into it, specifically with your age? Like, you're just a freshman. If you place last in the race, if all things go well, you'll come back to this meet, the next 3 years. Did it feel nice to really have no pressure and to be able to go for it really without much at stake? It's not like it's your last one, your last high school race. You've got many years ahead of you, and people forget pretty easily if you run bad.
It was nice not to have pressure. I don't mind pressure, honestly. I feel like it's kind of just fun to have a little bit of pressure. But going into the race, knowing the seniors and juniors, this is some of their last races of the year. So, I mean, I still got 3 more years. So, definitely no pressure on me, which was nice to have.
Take me through that move around Patrick with like 100 to go. I forget exactly. It was decisive, gave you the win. What was that like? What was the decision? Take me through it.
So, 200 to go is when I started to really make my move. And there was, I think it was Tyler and Patrick right there in front of me. So, I mean, with 200 to go, I've done that on basically, I think all my sub 150 races, I've went with 200 to go. So, and last 100, just try to move my way around Patrick. I mean, he was still moving, but just had to try to close as best as I could on him.
Patrick loves to take races out, and he loves to take them out hard. Was that in the back of your mind going into this? How much studying were you doing of other races like Arcadia, other races he's run, or other races other guys have run? And how much do other people's strategies play into your own? Like, are you aware he's going to take it out, and you're going to make your race plan around him, or do you have a set race plan that doesn't change depending on the race of the guys?
I definitely knew somebody would take it out. I mean, I watched some of Patrick's. I think it was New Balance Nationals Indoor in Arcadia, and Tyler was also in the Arcadia race. So I knew he'd be in the conversation for the race. But watching Patrick take it out at New Balance Indoors, and I think like 52 seconds, I knew he'd probably be the one taking it out, but it was Tyler, and I think 51 high, 52 low. So, and then with the race strategies, I really don't think in 800. I really don't. I just kind of, I wouldn't say do my own thing, just kind of stay there, get ready to go. I like to say race to 600, and then with 200 to go, give it everything you have left. So, and just staying close. That's the last thing.
Yeah, five guys under 150. You lead them all. You end up winning the race. I don't know. I don't follow like 800 races like religiously, so maybe that happens from time to time. I'm not sure what it was like at Arcadia, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty rare and historic.
Yes,
Five
sir.
guys under 150.
Mhm.
What was that like to lead so many guys under a really hard barrier 150? So many high school guys strive for.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, five guys, that hasn't happened very often. In my when I ran 149.12, we had three guys go sub 150, and I thought that was wild. But when I saw five guys under 150, it's like that doesn't happen very often. So
Let's go back in time a little bit. Take me through when you first heard about the Brooks PR meet and ultimately getting the invitation and being excited to even get the opportunity to race against the fastest of the fast.
well, for high school, I would say I knew there's kind of a time range you need to be in from 149 to I think 151, which was clay. But I mean, just getting down into that because I know they send invites out super early, so you got to run fast, quick outdoors to be able to get the invite. So just try to run fast, which I ran 150 early March, I'm pretty sure it was, which got the invite in.
What was it like seeing that invitation? And was there a meet like in the past? Like you're probably too young to see. I was too young when Donovan Brazier ran, but like there are some historic 8 guys that have run it. Do you remember like the first Brooks PR meet you were aware of?
First Brooks PR meet I was aware of was actually my middle school year when I got invited my eighth grade year because I have heard of it a little, but I didn't know how big it actually was until I went my middle school year. But then I kind of looked back at Brazier's race when he ran 147. I was like, this race is a big deal for the eight, so let's try to do it.
You've got 3 years. Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about the experience off the racetrack, off the track. What was it like coming to Seattle? It sounds like you had been the year before.
Mhm.
And how do you have fun and enjoy other people and meet new people and all the things the hotel has to offer while also, staying locked in, remembering you're going for a national title the next day?
I mean, it was just awesome getting to meet all the guys. I've never met any of them before, so I mean, all super nice to me. Tyler, especially Tyler Matthews, he was a great guy. So just getting to hang out with him, relaxing, but also being prepared for the race the next day.
So 2 questions for you about the future in regards to Brooks PR. First one, Brazier, you mentioned his 147 meet record. You never know. Like track is such an unpredictable, unforgiving sport, but at this rate, it's almost a given. You'll get some cracks at it in the
Hopefully,
next
yes,
3 years going to this meet.
sir.
What's your thought on Brazier's record, and what would it mean to take down such a historic record from such a historic individual?
I mean, it's been standing, I think, maybe 6, 7 years. So, I mean, it's definitely not an easy record to get, and you have to have the right field to go after that, opening in the right time. So, I mean, hopefully we can get it. I mean, if somebody else gets it, congratulations to them. But, I mean, just going to go have fun and try to take down that historic record.
She was on the podcast of this Call Room Road to Seattle series. Allie Ince was going 4 for 4. I want to see it happen. Sadie's an awesome individual, but 4 for 4, I was like, man, that would have been so cool. She didn't get it. Is that in the back of your head? That was a big conversation. Like, can Allie be the first in history to go 4 for 4? I don't know. You won freshman year. You're the guy setting it up. What's your thought on that?
I mean,
Obviously, stars have to align, but
I still got 3 years left. So, I mean, I just got to get there first, and then hopefully everything goes to plan. That is definitely 4 for 4 is hard to get, especially at a meet like that. So, I mean, if I somehow did get it, that'd be awesome. But I mean, I just got to see.
let me ask you this: what's harder in your mind? What would be harder, going 4 for 4 at Brooks PR or breaking Michael Granville's 800-meter national record?
I would say Michael Granville's. I mean, that's been standing since I think 1996. I mean, there's a reason it's been standing there for so long. I mean, there's definitely been guys close like Will Sumner, Cade Flat. So I mean, hopefully I can join that conversation in a few years to maybe break it. But I mean, it's been standing just I think over 20 years now. So it's definitely a difficult record to get.
What was the experience overall at Brooks PR? How'd you enjoy it? What was the cruise like? And also, I was there on the cruise. I believe you were like the boys MVP. What was it like to come out on top there as well and get 2 golden spikes, come home with 2 golden spikes, not just one?
I mean, the ride was definitely awesome. Middle school did not get to do that last year, but going into it as a high school, being the youngest person on that boat, I'm pretty sure it was definitely a little awkward, but I had fun with it, talking to meeting a lot of new people. But and then that gold spike MVP, I knew I'd be in the running for it, but I really thought Drew would get it with the, I think you're in 831, 841, one of the two.
831, yeah.
831. I knew I'd be in the conversation, but getting actually to get the MVP was awesome.
Let's go back in time. Take me through how Cooper got his start in the sport of running and what your first impressions of it were.
Well, in middle school, I did 5 sports: football, basketball, track, cross country, and I'm missing one more somewhere in there. But my eighth grade year, when I went to Brooks and Nike, when I ran 153 and 48 in the quarter, I was like, okay, this is kind of something I should stick with. So definitely wasn't a fan of running in middle school, especially seventh grade year. But eighth grade year, seeing those results of 153, I was like, just stick with this in high school and see how far I can go with it.
Brooks, eighth grade year, how'd you place there?
I won the 800 and 154 there.
Okay. So this would be 5 for 5 then.
Yes,
I
it
didn't even, I
was.
never even thought about that. That would be insane. That, if you go 5 for 5, that might be one of the most historic marks of all time. Cause I'm almost positive Allie didn't go her eighth grade year. So few kids go eighth grade year.
hmm
Man, I'm getting excited just thinking about the pot. I'm getting ahead of myself, 3 years ahead of myself, but 5 for 5, what would that be? Man, what's your thought on that?
That'd be crazy, especially at that. I mean, it's definitely easier, say, if those smaller meets, but like going to a meet like this and trying to go 5 for 5, 4 for 4, whatever you're trying to do, that's just I couldn't even imagine trying to do that.
Was there a point in your start in the sport where you went from like participating in track to then like going all in on it? And what's kind of the status with those other sports? Have you gone all in on track, or are you still dabbling in other sports as well?
Well, the big reason I got into track and like cross was definitely my parents. I mean, my dad ran in college. One of my brothers is running in college, and the other one's swimming right now. But definitely, again, when I ran Brooks and Nike my eighth grade year, I was like, I got to go all in. So this freshman year, I've just done cross country and track, and going to stick with that for the next 4 years of high school.
Thoughts on cross country as a 147 guy yourself?
Not great. I don't mind it. I mean, definitely not near as fun as the track, but I mean, kind of use it for preparation to get into track season, try to get a little stronger, so a little more fit for track.
How do you prepare and approach, I guess would be the better word, a cross country season where you're probably doing long tempos, you're probably doing mile repeats, doing all sorts of things you probably don't touch in track, and also probably not sure how good the school you run for is, but you know, being beat by guys that you would just absolutely cook in an 800, like, is that humbling? Is it nice to change it up? Do you miss the track? What's your perspective, and how do you approach cross country season?
It's definitely nice. I mean, getting to change it up a little, going on the grass. Definitely, I wouldn't want to be on the track all year from cross country to track season. So, and then getting beat by some guys, I would most likely be in an 8 or definitely not a mile. Like, we're going into a hard district this year with South Lake Carroll. Caden Leonard just, I think he's like 14:58 in the 5K, and I'm a 16:23 guy. So going into that's going to be a little rough, but we'll see.
Going into sophomore year cross season, 16:23, that's on borrowed time. What's your perspective going into this season? What are some goals you have?
Try to make it back to state this year. I was able to do it freshman year, got out the eighth individual out of 10 that make it. So hopefully drop that PR down into the 1550s, 1540s, just because that 1623 was 20, 25 miles a week and just truly starting to get the run. So hopefully we can make that time go a little more down.
As an 8 guy, are you running that 16:23 even? Is it like you're going out in 58 through 4 and you're leading the whole pack? Is it like you even pace it and then you hawk a bunch of guys down at the end? How does a true 800 guy run
It's
5K?
definitely even pace, I'd say. I might go out a little too hot, like 5:10, 5:20, but I average around 5:20, 5:30 pace for every mile. And then the last 200 of the 5K is I'll typically try to get a few people down.
Would you say this past season you had the best kick in the state, or were you so gassed at that point that it was just hanging on?
I wouldn't say best kick just because I'd be pretty far back in the pack, middle of the pack, finishing most meets, especially at our state meet. But I would say it's up there, but definitely not the best of the best. If I tried to run with some of those top guys and just hang on, I would not have anything left going in the last like mile.
You make the state meet freshman year as you were walking me through, but as you mentioned, like middle of the pack, back of the pack, was that humbling going into track where you felt like you had a chip on your shoulder, or was it like, I know I'm not a cross guy, it's okay, just
Yeah.
approach track new?
I wouldn't say a chip on my shoulder. I mean, I was having more fun with it than anything. So, I mean, getting 47th for me wasn't, it was actually because I was the top freshman for our state meet. So I was pretty happy about that. But I mean, I just try to have fun with cross country and then use it to be better in track season. So
You mentioned growing up with other athletes in the home, your dad obviously running in college. What was that like? And how do you feel like that's propelled you in your journey in the sport, but also just present day, having people to ask questions on, lean on, have supporters who have gone through similar things? What's that like?
It's definitely nice to have. I mean, my dad ran at UNT, and then my brother's at Tulsa. Just finished his freshman year there, so definitely be able to lean on them, ask them questions if I need anything. I mean, they're not just gonna go lie to me. So I mean, just asking them simple questions, difficult questions. I mean, just nice to have them there.
You mentioned, how you're slowly easing into the sport in terms of training. What is a general, like, not peak week, but like hard week of 800-meter training outdoor season look like for you?
I mean, it's about 2 workouts a week typically, most times, and then 4 easy runs, 6 day weeks most of the time. I mean, training's not the workouts are definitely more speed based related, like 500s, 400s, coming through 55, trying to close a 500 in. But I mean, it's not anything crazy at all. I mean, 20, 30, 25, 30 miles a week on the normal. So
Was there a workout leading into Brooks' PR that gave you confidence that you could potentially run 147 or just even win the race? Like you closed a rep really hard or something where you walked off the track and you're like, I'm ready for Seattle. Let's do this thing. Let's give it a go.
I would definitely say there was. I think maybe a week out. I can't remember the exact workout, but I mean, I ran a 500 in like 68, I think, or like 70. I came to like 55 and then just closed super hard. And then I end of the workout, I ran like a 25, 26, kind of a gut check is what we call it. But yeah, that workout was just, I was like, okay, I think I have a chance here if I just keep myself in the race.
You mentioned this to me before we started recording. You're on the off season now. 2 national championships in 1 week, both wins. One of those being 147 at Brooks PR. What are some of Cooper's favorite off season activities? Things you like to do when you're not running?
I mean, I'm a big video game guy. I just kind of relax. I'll still go to our team practices, just kind of talk to the guys, help them out, anything they need. I mean, we have practice tomorrow. I'm going to bring a bike to the track and just ride next to them as they're running. So, I mean, it's nothing crazy, just video. I'm still 15, so I mean, just doing the basic kind of things, hanging out with friends and just video games, basically.
Is that funny where you won? Where you won? Wow, you won, yes. But I was gonna say run 147 in the 8. This is a time that like good college guys run. Like so many D1 colleges are thrilled if their guys touch 147. But as you mentioned, you're 15. You just completed freshman year. Is it weird being like I'm still or like the outside world? I feel like views you as so much older because you ran so fast.
Mhm.
What's that like? Like I'm still just a young kid making my way through high school.
I mean, it's definitely crazy to think. I mean, 147 is just extremely fast for anybody, college guys. So getting to do that at such a young age is kind of been an honor to do. So just going to continue keeping the train rolling or moving. So
You said you kind of like pressure, so answer this question however you feel or want to. But how do you think of the next 3 years? Obviously, you've set such an incredibly high bar, running 147, winning a bunch this year. How do you approach the next 3 years in terms of like enjoying the sport and progressing, while also probably having some outside pressure that you did run 147?
I mean, the way I think of it for running, if you're not having fun while doing it, you're not doing it the right way. So I mean, I'm still going to get all the work into whatever the coaches tell me to do. But I mean, I've set some goals for myself along the way for the next 2 years, 3 years. But I mean, just having fun with it all is the best way to explain it, really.
I know we briefly touched on this subject earlier in the conversation. Michael Granville's 800-meter record. Is that something you dream about, something that's in the back of your head now, thinking and dreaming about the next 3 seasons? Obviously, second and change is a lot, but
Mhm.
3 years is also a lot. And who knows what you can do and develop as an athlete. What's your take on that? Potentially etching your name into the history books. As you mentioned, one of the hardest records in track. 5K record has been broken the past 2 years. Feels like it gets broken every week at this point. Got broke twice last year, and Danny got it this year. The 2 mile record, Lucas Verspikas has it, but I feel like there's always a version of like the 32 or 2 mile that gets broken. Alan Webb's mile record's still there, but like sub 4, kids are on sub 4 all the time. 146 has not really been touched. What's your take on entering that territory?
I mean, it's definitely in the back of my mind, but I mean, the 800 is just, it's such a brutal race to do. I mean, I might next year run 150 and then the next year run 145. It's just, you never know with an 800 type of kid. So, especially with the training they do and everything. So, I mean, if I got it, that'd be awesome. But I mean, if never got it, you just move on from it.
As you think to future in the sport, of course, you just want to have fun, and this is getting way ahead of myself as you just completed freshman year. But is running in college something in the back of your head? Is running pro something in the back of your head? And how do you envision your future in the sport of running?
I would definitely say running in college is kind of my big goal I've had ever since beginning of this freshman year. But I mean, still have 3 more years to go, so just have fun with it, and hopefully everything works as planned and go to college.
What are some of your favorite aspects of the sport of running? You've mentioned how much you love it, how you enjoy it. What are some of your favorite parts of it?
The lows and highs, you get them all the time. You have runners high and then runners low. So I mean, you have to find that balance in between. I call it the one third rule. One day you might feel like crap. One day you'll feel okay. One day you're going to be great. If you keep just hitting that wall of, man, I feel horrible, you're doing something wrong. So you just need to be able to balance it out and just keep going with it.
Cooper, final question for you. For those who have listened to our conversation today, kids coming up in the sport, want to be like you one day, want to be great. What would a piece of advice be to them on how to be good at the sport of running?
Stay consistent. That's the biggest thing you can ever do. I mean, that's a big reason why I'm able to do what I do. I just stay consistent. Even those little things in between races, in between, if you have a hard 8 and a 4, I did the 8, 4, 4x4 almost every meet for us. And just doing the little things, stretching, putting your legs up, eating correctly, drinking. It's just, you have to do the little things in between each race and each day. I mean, rolling out, massage guns, everything.
Cooper, really appreciate the conversation. Keep crushing it, man. Looking forward to seeing you hopefully at the next 3 Bros PR meets, hopefully getting a dub at all of them. Hopefully we have a conversation 3 years from now and can smile on this one with good memory. Keep crushing it. Keep enjoying the sport. Looking forward to seeing all the places it'll take you.
Thank you.